The movie kicks off with Muthufal Pandian, a chilled-out retired cop who lives in the hustle and bustle of Kodambakkam, Chennai. He's got a simple life alongside his wife Viji and their son Arjun. Arjun, by the way, followed in his dad's footsteps and became an assistant police commissioner. He's married to Swetha, and together they have a cute kiddo named Ritu. Now, ever since Muthufal hung up his police uniform, he's been super hands-on around the house. Whether it's getting fresh veggies from the market, cleaning Arjun's shoes, or goofing around with Ritu during game time, he's always involved. Apart from that, Muthufal also often helps Ritu create video content, because Ritu dreams of becoming a content creator. Muthufal always emphasized to his family to prioritize honesty in living every aspect of life, because Muthufal has the principle that being honest will always bring safety and goodness to them. Funny thing is, for a guy who was a cop, Muthufal is super naive. He often ends up as the butt of jokes, especially from his nosy neighbor Vimal, who just loves to tease him. Even though he is often the target of bullying, Muthufal never loses his temper because he doesn't want to start a fight with anyone. On the other hand, Arjun is super busy trying to bust this bad group that's stealing god statues and selling them abroad. Even though this group has been sneaky for years, the cops still can't catch them because they're really good at hiding. The big boss of this group is Varman. He's the type who'd cook his own guys if they mess up. So after his crew swipes some statues from a temple, they stash them away to ship out later. Varman, who had previously been so confident that the police could find no trace of his crime, gets a shocker when he hears that the police snagged one of his statue-filled trucks. Upon hearing that, Varman immediately became angry and ordered one of his men, Sinu, to get back the statues, no matter what. So, Arjun dashes to the base where Sinu is. Sinu tells Arjun that they have kidnapped Arjun's father while threatening that they will kill his father if Arjun refuses to give the statues to them. Surprisingly, Arjun didn't panic at all when he found out that his father had been kidnapped, and he instead looked calm while telling Sinu that they were too stupid because the real Muthufal was not as innocent as he seemed. When Sinu tries to call his men who kidnapped Muthufal, unexpectedly, it is Muthufal who picks up the phone because all of Sinu's men have been defeated by him. Arjun tells Sinu that if his father finds out his family was threatened, he will take action. Sinu gets spooked and hands himself over to the cops. Arjun demands answers and is willing to be forceful. This whole hardcore approach makes some of Arjun's team nervous, though. They'd heard tales of other cops going after this gang and just vanishing. A cop named Lakshmi asks Muthufal to advise his son to be cautious. But instead of stressing out, Muthufal's beaming with pride. He knows Arjun's got the guts to stand up to the baddies and won't back down, even if it's risky. Arjun has previously informed his father of his fearlessness towards these men. Muthufal is proud of his son's bravery. Fast forward a bit, Arjun really grills Sinu, getting all the juicy details about Varman and the gang. Once he has what he needs, he lets Sinu go and rounds up his team to catch Varman. But just as they're closing in, Arjun goes radio silent. He's gone, and even his phone's off the grid. Hearing this, Muthufal rushes to the police boss. The commissioner, seeing Muthufal's worry, orders everyone to drop everything and find Arjun. Soon after, a cop comes up saying they last tracked Arjun's phone on a bridge. They're worried because Arjun's been stressed out lately with all these crime cases. The police chief tells Muthufal they're on it and will let him know if they find any leads. But Muthufal doesn't just sit around. He's at the police station every day hoping for news. Getting impatient, he confronts Sinu for clues. Sinu suggests that Arjun's bravery led to his current situation. Then, Lakshmi drops a bombshell. She tells Muthufal she thinks Arjun might be gone for good, thanks to the criminals. This shatters Muthufal's family. Viji, his wife, is super upset and points fingers at Muthufal. She feels his teachings of honesty and bravery pushed Arjun too far. Muthufal keeps his cool, but deep down, he's thinking of revenge. The next day, as Muthufal's plotting his payback, Vimal tries to mess with him again. But this time, Muthufal's not having it. He shows Vimal who he really is, until he finally agreed to take Muthufal to Sinu's place. Muthufel, thinking Sinu played a role in Arjun's death, takes him out. Then he gets Vimal to toss Sinu's body into the river. Vimal's totally spooked and promises to zip it about the whole thing. Life seems to go back to normal for Muthufel, but things turn sideways when a thug tries to hurt his grandson, Rithu, at an ice cream stand. Muthufel's quick reflexes save the day, but he gets a chilling call from Varman. Varman's mad about Sinu and vows to make Muthufel pay, starting with his family. Panicking about his family's safety, Muthufel hatches a plan. He tells his wife, Viji, that he's losing it mentally after their son's loss and needs to see a shrink. Viji's worried and agrees, but Muthufel picks this particular psychiatrist, Dandapani, for a reason. He knows Dandapani has some secrets of his own, like an affair on the side. Using that info, Muthufel gets Dandapani to shelter his family in the clinic. Dandapani convinces the family that Muthufel's going through a rough patch and that they need to be there to support his healing. In truth, Muthufel's just trying to keep them safe from Varman's threats. While his family's chilling at Dandapani's clinic, Muthufel takes a trip with Vimal to Mandya to meet an old buddy, Narasimha. Now, Narasimha might have a past as an ex-convict, but he's super grateful to Muthufel for helping him turn his life around. Hearing about Muthufel's trouble with Varman, Narasimha gets his crew to help out. Together with Vimal and Narasimha's squad, they snag one of Varman's guys and learn about a truck filled with stolen statues. Muthufel nabs the truck and the statues, hoping to use them as a bargaining chip with Varman. On the other hand, Varman and his accomplices already finds out where Muthufel's family's hiding and storms the clinic. Dandapani, fearing for his life, spills the beans about the family's location. Soon after that, Varman made a video call with Muthufel so that Muthufel could witness in person the moment he killed Muthufel's family. But Muthufel has a card up his sleeve. He shows off the stolen statues and spills the beans on knowing all about Varman's smuggling routes. Varman, getting nervous, tries to cut a deal. But Muthufel refused to negotiate if Varman failed to get 10 rupees from his family. It might sound like chump change, but for Varman, it feels like he's begging. In the end, to save his shady business, Varman's got to swallow his pride. After Rithu handed over 10 rupees, Varman and Muthufel met up. They decided to bury the hatchet, with Varman swearing he'd leave Muthufel's family alone. In return, Muthufel was cool with Varman continuing his shady dealings. Muthufel then went to fetch his family from Dandapani's clinic. Turns out, Varman wasn't really about keeping promises. He was still super mad and wanted revenge. He even punished his own crew who had spilled the beans to Muthufel. Varman hires this gangster dude, Kamdev, to wipe out Muthufel's family. Lucky for Muthufel, someone tipped him off about the hit. With his grandson safely hidden away, Muthufel had Viji and Swetha chill at the dining table and told them not to move, no matter what. They were super confused until a car pulled up outside. Viji tried to look outside, but Muthufel told her to stay. He explained that the men outside were connected to Arjun's unfortunate fate because of a past conflict with their leader. Just as Viji and Swetha were freaking out, they heard sounds of a break-in. But Muthufel looked so calm because he had prepared everything. Turns out Muthufel had some backup. He had called Narasimha's guys, who happened to be sharpshooters. They were all set up and ready to protect Muthufel's family. When Kamdev's crew tried anything, these sharpshooters didn't mess around. They even took out the ones trying to escape. One of Kamdev's guys got close to Muthufel, hoping to hurt him, but Muthufel wasn't having any of it. He took him down right in front of Viji and Swetha. They were super shocked seeing this side of Muthufel. They always thought he was just a kind, old man. The next day, Kamdev got the news that his entire squad was wiped out. He was floored to discover his target was Muthufel. He chewed out Varman for not giving him a heads up. He knew Muthufel from way back. The guy was a legendary retired cop, respected by lawmen and bad guys alike. He used to be this baddest jailer at Tihar prison, nicknamed Tiger Muthufel Pandian. Varman didn't seem too worried though. He claimed he had like 100 more guys to send after Muthufel. Then, the story takes a flashback. About 15 years ago, Kamdev was in Tihar prison. This place was bad news, filled with the meanest criminals, but even these tough guys were scared of Muthufel. As the jailer, he was ruthless. There was this one time he even chopped off the ear of a big-shot criminal, Sikandar Singh, just for talking back. Rajarao, some big-shot criminal, tried to hurt Muthufel's family. But Muthufel stopped Rajarao's guys dead in their tracks before they even reached his home. The man has friends everywhere, so of course, he knew what Rajarao was planning. In the current situation, Kamdev informs Varman that he is no match for Muthufel and should stop. But Muthufel isn't waiting around. He shows up at Varman's place, ready for a showdown. The thugs then turn to support Muthufel, while Varman looked so shocked because he had no idea that Muthufel had that much power over Sikandar Singh and his men. But just when Muthufel's got everything under control, Varman pulls a fast one. He calls up Muthufel and shows him a video of his son, Arjun, who he thought was dead. Varman's got Arjun hostage and uses him as a bargaining chip. Varman makes a deal. Muthufel has to steal this super precious crown from a temple in Andhra Pradesh. Off Muthufel goes to scope out the place and sees that the crown's security is no joke, with only a few VIPs having access. One of those VIPs is this actor royalty dude, Blast Mohan. And Muthufel thinks Blast Mohan is, well, not the sharpest tool in the shed, making him the perfect target for their plan. Muthufel got all the info he needed and rang up Varman. He asked for 3 months to snatch the old crown in order to save Arjun. Varman said yes, but he's going to have his guys, Dhanraj and Paneer, keep an eye on Muthufel's every step. Over the next couple of months, Muthufel figured out everything about Blast Mohan, including how he's got a thing for an actress named Kamna. But Kama's heart belongs to a director named Balu, who also adores her. Even though Mohan showers Kamna with fancy gifts, Balu always takes the credit, making it seem like they're from him. Mohan's totally clueless about this. After knowing this, Muthufel and his crew blended in at a movie shoot as extras and dancers. They bumped into Balu and warned him they'd spill the beans about his gift game with Mohan unless he helped them. Not wanting his secret out, Balu agreed. Next day, Balu pitched Mohan a film idea about the crown. Mohan, super pumped about it, urged Balu to get things rolling. Balu said they needed to check out the real crown to make a convincing fake. Mohan, totally trusting, got them into the temple where the crown was. One of Muthufel's crew, acting like they were from the film team, began making the crown copy, while Dhanraj and Paneer were just awestruck by the original shiny crown studded with gems. Right after learning about the crown heist plan, Dhanraj and Paneer raced to tell Varman. Varman was over the moon, thinking he'd soon be rolling in cash from this national treasure. Meanwhile, Muthufel jetted off to Mumbai to see his old buddy Matthew. Turns out Matthew is kind of a big deal in the criminal world, but he's super chuffed to see Muthufel and mentions he drop everything and run to Muthufel if ever asked. Muthufel spills the beans about his face-off with Varman. Matthew, having his wide network, could easily pinpoint Varman's location and keep tabs on him. Matthew proposed eliminating Varman immediately, but Muthufel hesitated because Varman held his son, Arjun, captive. Muthufel dropped by Matthew's place mainly to get some firepower. Matthew was all in, letting Muthufel pick whatever weapons he fancied for the crown heist. With weapons in hand, Muthufel and his crew started prepping big time, thinking they might end up in a shootout if the police caught wind of their plan. Meanwhile, Mohan was busy acting in this fake movie that Muthufel had set up. In it, Mohan's playing this thief trying to swap the real crown with a fake one in the temple. After Mohan finished filming the scene, Muthufel, who had recorded the scene, then sent the video recording to the Central Bureau of Investigation, or CBI, who then interrogated Mohan at his home. The CBI officer talked with Mohan, who tried to clear things up. He said it was just a movie scene, not a real theft. But the officer decided they'd take the crown to Pune to test if it was real. If it turned out fake, Mohan would be in big trouble and got placed under house arrest. The next day, the crown was moved with heavy police protection. On the way, Muthufel's crew ambushed the police. There was a wild shootout. Dhanraj and Panir watched from afar. Muthafel took out Jafar, the head cop, and his crew. After that, he took the crown and gave it to Dhanraj and Panir, who took it to Varman. Muthafel then called Varman to tell him he had the crown and reminded him to release Arjun. Varman agreed, but the big fight was all an act. Jafar and his team were working with Muthafel to trick Varman. The crown Dhanraj and Panir took to Varman was fake. The real one was being moved somewhere safe. Meanwhile, Mohan got a call from the CBI saying the crown was real and he wasn't guilty. Mohan was relieved but super mad when he found out Balu had double-crossed him. He kicked out both Balu and Kamna, even though she stuck by Balu's side even after knowing the truth. Dhanraj and Panir made it to Varman's secret spot and gave him the crown. But Arjun wasn't actually a captive. He was working with Varman the whole time, planning the crown theft. He roped in his dad, Muthafel, knowing he had the means to nab the crown. Varman agreed to split the crown's profits 50-50 with Arjun, who'd do anything for cash, even trick his dad. Arjun wasn't after Varman to arrest him, but to join him in making bank. Varman was cool with teaming up because Muthafel's network could help him out big time. But Arjun did give Varman a heads up. Muthafel could take him out anytime, with no help needed. Little did Arjun and Varman know, Muthafel had a sneaky camera in the crown. It recorded their whole chat. Muthafel was crushed to find out his son, whom he loved, had backstabbed him. Arjun would even harm Muthafel for cash. All Muthafel could do was laugh and cry at the betrayal. The next day, Varman let Arjun go as promised. Muthafel tried to make Arjun tell the cops about the kidnapping and theft, but Arjun declined. Instead, he told Muthafel he'd bust Varman himself to get a police award. Hearing Arjun's plans, Muthafel played along, handing him a gun. He hoped Arjun would fess up and say sorry before leaving, but Arjun just took off. Meanwhile, Varman figured out the crown he got was a dud. Angry, he took out Dhanraj. Panir, seeing this madness, took the easy way out, ending his own life. Varman then spilled the beans to Arjun. They'd been played by Muthafel, who even put a sneaky camera in the fake crown. Arjun freaked out, thinking Muthafel knew everything. To protect himself, he asked Varman to snatch his family. Varman told Arjun he had already sent his goons to grab Arjun's family and move the valuable statues, but he was done working with Arjun and planned to get rid of him. Just then, Muthafel, with Kamdev, Vimal, and his friends, stormed into Varman's place. While Muthafel was taking down Varman's crew, Arjun hid, scared of facing his dad. Just when it seemed Varman was done for, he revealed he kidnapped Muthafel's loved ones, Vijay and Swetha, and dared Muthafel to give up. But Muthafel was ahead of the game. He'd asked sharpshooter Narasimha to look out for his family, and in no time, Narasimha saved them. Muthafel also had Matthew on a mission to wreck all of Varman's shady deals. Despite all odds, Varman still had the guts to warn Muthafel about his gang seeking revenge, but Muthafel wasn't having any of it. He took Varman down, ending his reign for good. After that, Muthafel let Arjun explain himself. Arjun admitted he messed up big time, driven by greed. While Muthafel was ready to forgive, he wanted Arjun to turn himself in. But prideful Arjun couldn't bear the thought of ruining his image. He even thought of getting rid of his dad, the only family member who knew his secrets. But Muthafel was one step ahead, signaling Narasimha's snipers to take out Arjun. With a heavy heart, he walked away. The story teaches us that no matter what, we must always stand for truth and justice, even if it means going against our own kin when they're in the wrong.